Why do so many people have back pain? And why so many people don't get help with it? I've been a back pain patient since I was 17, and when I was 26, I had a bulge so bad I could not put my own socks on. Now I'm over 40, my back is fully functioning. I can deadlift double my own weight without a belt. I've helped tens of thousands of people to get their back into functioning condition. Almost 80% of adult people suffer from some kind of back pain. That is actually the most common source of pain. In this video, we will go into what are the actual causes of back pain and what are symptoms. The real problem is that most people are treated in the way that only deals with the symptoms and not the actual causes. The treatments fight with each other. Some say that you need to take pills and surgery and rest. Some say you have to strengthen the back. Some say that you have to go into a manipulation, do some cracking in the spine. Some say that you need specific corrective exercises, mobility exercises, or stability exercises. So what is the actual functioning way that gets us results? There are actual studies, new studies that tells us what is going on in the treatment world and what should we actually do. The science magazine Lancet published the biggest study on back pain yet, and they basically say that we are treating it wrong. What we need to do is to learn to use our back in the correct way, and that way make it functioning again. I've helped tens of thousands of people to do just that, to get their back functioning again. I've had back problems when I was about 15, and when I was 26, I had the bulge so bad that I couldn't walk straight. And from that experience, I tried everything. I went to manipulations, I went to physiotherapy, I went to massage, I studied Pilates and yoga, and I started to notice what is happening here. I didn't want to be just healthy. I wanted to be functioning again, to do yard work, play with my daughter, do sports again. And now I am in very good shape, and I teach over 1,000 professionals this system. And I've consulted professional athletes, and I have more than 40,000 regular people training with this system. And in this video, I will go through what are the actual causes, what are the symptoms, and how should we approach this problem. The first topic we're going to talk about is that are the structural problems, the bones and discs, the actual problem, the actual cause of back pain. And in this topic, the studies are really clear that they are not. Okay, so if the bulge is so big that it's pressing the nerve 24/7, then we are not functioning at all. We are in so much pain that we need to take painkillers, and then the surgery might be the right answer. But for most people, actually 90% of the people almost, we have these bulges and degenerations, and it's part of normal getting old. I have the bulge. And most people over 40 have degeneration and or a bulge without symptoms. Okay, so what is the relationship with these structures and the functionality? Okay, so the spine has these soft tissues, the muscles and the fascia around it. Of course, there's much more than this, but I'm just showing this. And these tissues are alive, and they are giving the support, the stability for the spine. So if we have a good support there, we are able to keep an alignment. And if we don't, they start to move in the ways that are not healthy and pressing the nerves. So that is the first thing we need to understand, that if we have a bulge, we are not doomed. Most people have them. Okay, so what we need to do is to actually work on the soft tissues, and about 90% of back pain can be dealt with these soft tissues. And that is what we're gonna do next, talk about them. Okay, so let's talk about mobility. If we are tight, we are stiff, so these soft tissues around the spine and anywhere else are just so stiff that we are not able to move. So we try to move, but these tissues don't give us the permission to move, that causes pain. It's not in the spine, it's in the tissues. So we may have a mobility problem, okay? And that may be for the lack of movement. We have just been sitting too much. That may also be overtraining. And that's the funny thing. We don't understand that the same problem can be from two really different sources. So if we sit a lot, we get tight, soft tissues, or if we go to the gym a lot and we do lots of deadlifts like I did, I had the mobility problem from overtraining, and many people have it from undermoving, but it's still the same thing. And of course, if we have that, we need to do mobility exercises. But a really important thing here to understand, my customer Henny had back pains for 16 years, had many kind of treatments, and most of the treatments were strengthening exercises. Okay, she had some structural problems here and went to the doctor and physiotherapist, and they gave her strengthening exercises, and they made her worse. They did not test for her mobility and stability, just put on strengthening exercises, because that is the way some treatments work. And okay, what happens if the tissues are already tight and you go strengthen them? They grow tighter, her pains got worse. Okay, she went into my program, started doing mobility work, tested herself and said, okay, I actually have a mobility problem. Started doing mobility work 2 weeks and the back was functioning again. Less than 2 months and she went to the gym, work out without pain. So this is one important thing, that mobility is important, but it's not an answer for all. Because if there is no mobility problem, and some people actually have too little mobility, I'm sorry, too much mobility, that might be a problem. My other client, Kasper, went to the doctor, had really bad pain, and first they tested his mobility. And okay, he was stiff as a board. Okay, so what did the doctor do? Said, okay, you have to go to a physiotherapist and get better mobility. The physiotherapist does the same thing. Can you touch your toes? No, I cannot go further than this. And they gave Kasper mobility exercises, and they gave him static, passive stretches. They don't work. After a week, Kasper didn't walk. He lied on the ground in pain. Okay? Kasper came to me. I tested him, or he tested himself with the videos. And I noticed that he has a stability problem. When doing the stretches, he could not control the position of his back at all. So he had control stability problems. And now, if you give mobility exercises to a person who has control problems, they make him or her worse. Okay? So if there is no support for the spine and you start stretching it, it caused stretching like this, caused a bulge to struck the nerve, 24/7 pain. So stretching, mobility is not the answer if we don't have stability. So for Kasper, we started with stability exercises, focusing on them and not do stretching. And nobody actually should do static, passive stretching. We need active mobility. Okay, so that's the second part. We need stability, we need control, and everybody needs that. Okay, then let's talk about strength. Okay, when I was 25, I deadlifted over 500 pounds. 235 kilos is my personal best. So I had strength, but I had the stiff back and I had a problem that I had this much strength, but this much control. So I had lots of strength, too little control to keep the position right when doing the lifts. So did mobility workout help me a little bit? Yeah. Did strength exercises work for me? No, they got me worse. But when I did massage and I did stretching and I did yoga, I didn't really feel better. So I had to build the stability better to match my strength. So just strength exercises did not work. So strength exercises are important, but only after you get control that you can actually do them correctly. And when you have enough mobility. So that's the base. You need to have the control and mobility and then build strength. So these all parts are important. The first part, the structures. So if you have a bad problem, it is a problem. But how do you treat it? Most times it needs to be treated with stability exercises, mobility exercises to have the body in a position that it's not like this. It doesn't press the nerves. Okay? And a couple of other things about the mobility. So it's not just it's not really about how far you can stretch. It's about the functioning of your fascia most times. And a couple of problems that many of us have. Many of us have tight hamstrings. And when the hamstrings get tightened, the whole posterior chain gets tightened and it will do this. So it will pull our hips forward, getting our back of the head closer to our heels. And then our upper body compensates to have balance with gravity. So we have this kind of wrong position and compensation here, and then we have to compensate here towards forward. We have neck pain. Other really common problem is tight hips. And when the hips get tightened, so from the femur to the spine, it will pull the hips, what we call anterior pelvic tilt. So pull them like this and put pressure on the spine. And if the actual cause is the wrong position of the spine, no matter where, it can be both. There can also be left-right asymmetries. So we are a little tighter on the right side, little too weak on the left side. These are not getting better by strengthening the back. They are not getting better by taking pills. They are not getting better by surgery. We have to do corrective exercises in this point, so we have to have control in our stomach muscles. We have to have mobility in our hips and hamstrings so we can get into correct positions. So the goal of mobility and stability exercises is to correct the position of the body so they are supporting the spine and all bones in the positions that they can work normally and not cause pain. So that is the most important thing that functional back training is about.